Hello everyone. Hi boys and girls. I hope everybody's doing well. We're back for another week. This week we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. I'm going to be splitting up your reading and math lessons. I know that before last week I would send out a video and we would do a reading skill and a math skill in one. Now we're going to break it up. So today you're going to have a wonderful reading lesson and then I'll send the math videos on a different day. So tomorrow we'll do math. So we're just going to kind of split it up and focus on some different stuff. This week we have a special day coming up. Earth Day is this week. And we've really been focusing over the last 5 weeks on protecting all the people in the world and keeping our people safe and healthy. And so we're going to kind of talk about a little bit of a different way. We're going to be talking about how to keep the earth safe and keep everything going with our earth and keep it safe and how we can protect our earth. So we got a lot going on. We're protecting all the people in the world and we're going to be talking about how to protect our earth. Boys and girls, real quick, our earth is really big, and I know that we had talked about this before when we looked at our globes and at our maps. Most of our world is made up of water. Most of the world is made up of water, but there's a lot of land there, and we're going to be talking about how to protect our land and keep it nice and safe and keep it nice and clean. One of those ways, and we're going to talk about this more, is the 3 R's we call them. There's 3 R's that we can do to help protect our earth. We can reduce, reuse, and recycle. And we kind of talked about this a little while earlier in the year around Christmas time when we were doing some of our projects. So you guys may have heard me talk about this before. We try to reduce the amount of things that we use, and we'll talk about that a little more. We try to reuse things, meaning use them again instead of throwing them away. And then we try to recycle things, which means they're sent to a factory and they reshape them and they reuse them. Okay, so those are 3 things we're going to be talking about. I have a great book we're going to read here, and then we'll kind of talk more about that. So, our book that we're reading today is Kids for the Earth, written by Melvin Berger. And I am reading this book with the permission of Newbridge Publishing. So, and we have our friend here on the front, and this little boy looks like he's ready to do some planting, and it looks like he's going to go ahead and plant a tree, and that's a great way to help the earth, is to replant. So let's look. This is our earth. So here's our earth. And all this blue stuff, like I said before, boys and girls, is water. Because our earth is mostly made up of water. And then all this brown and green that you see in here, that's land. We like to play in its waters. So here they are. They're playing outside in waters. This looks like a really cool waterfall. We also use water for drinking and cleaning. Drinking out of a water fountain, washing their dog outside. We like to climb its trees and sit under their branches for shade. I know we've been getting outside a lot more these days with being home. We also cut down trees. We use trees to make paper and build houses. So that's something that we use the trees for, which means we should be planting more of them when we use it, right? We also dig important minerals from deep inside the earth, like coal, and aluminum comes from the earth. The earth gives us so much. So there she is. She's given a nice little present of some flowers. We can make the earth, how can we make the earth better for all of us? And that's what we're going to be talking about a lot this week. How do we protect all these things to make the earth better for all of us? We can plant a tree for others to climb. We can clean up beaches and parks for others to enjoy, getting rid of all this trash and cleaning it up and taking it away. We can recycle. There's one of our R's friends. Then less will be taken from the ground and less trees will be cut down. Because we use trees to make paper, boys and girls. So if we're making lots of paper, we're cutting down all those trees. But if we recycle that paper, we don't have to cut down as many trees. It's our earth. Let's keep it clean and beautiful. So that's what we're going to talk about doing, is keeping our earth clean and beautiful. So I have up here our 3 R's again. Reduce. using less of something. Boys and girls, when we throw garbage away, it goes into this big hole in the ground called a landfill. And it piles up and piles up and piles up and piles up and piles up. And we're going to talk a lot about that on Wednesday, about where all the garbage goes. So when we reduce the amount of something that we use, we're using less of it. We're not using as much of it. And that's helpful to our earth. If we reuse something, we're not throwing it into that landfill. We're using it again, and we're lessening the amount of garbage that we're using. And if we recycle things, we're sending them, just like we talked about with the trees in our book. We're sending them, we're reusing paper, they're remaking it into brand new fresh sheets of paper instead of cutting down trees to make new paper. So, I have some cards here of some things that we can do. So we're gonna have to use our tape, because at school, I would use our little sticky things, but again, we're not at school, but I did get a nice easel so I don't have to make my own anymore. So we're gonna put our tape up and we're gonna sort these the best that we can to see where our objects go. So here I have a guy driving around in his car, ready to go. Now, would I reduce the amount of driving I would do? Would I reuse it or would I recycle it? I would reduce it because we want to drive less. The more you drive, your car puts out gas into the air and it's not very good for our environment. So we're going to reduce the amount of driving that we do. This is my illustration of an aluminum can. Now some of these things, reusing and recycling, you can kind of do both of. So here I have an aluminum can. I could probably reuse it if I wanted to do a cool art project, if I wanted to do a science experiment to make those phones. But for the most part, we can put them in the recycle bin. And you can recycle them, send them to a company, they'll melt them all down and make all new cans. This is a light switch. This is my awesome illustration of a light switch. We can reduce the amount of times we turn on the lights, the amount of electricity that we're using, and that's gonna help our earth. So I'm gonna take this up here under reducing. You know what I'll actually do while we're chatting, I'm gonna stick my tape up and then that way we can just go through the cards. And while you guys are home this week, you can really be taking this time to be practicing reducing, reusing, and recycling objects. And I know you could be reusing a lot of things. I know we've been using a lot of things over again to do some art projects. That's always fun. And if you remember, boys and girls, we collected a lot of paper towel rolls and toilet paper rolls, and we did our groundhog. We made all the tunnels and burrows. That was us reusing objects instead of throwing them in the garbage. So you guys have already been doing this. At school, we have our recycle bin and we toss all our papers in there. So we've already been doing a lot of this stuff. So here's my light switch, and I'm gonna put that under reducing the amount of electricity that we use. Here I have my newspaper. Now newspapers, again, we reuse them at school. Mrs. Otis puts them down on the table when we do art projects to keep our table nice and clean. So when we get our newspaper, Mr. Komazinski reads it, and then I bring it to school and we use it to protect our tables from paint and things that could really stain our tables. So we do reuse them, but you can also recycle them and put them in the recycle bin and they'll get remade into fresh new paper. Paper bags, paper or plastic bags, and we reuse these like crazy, don't we? We use them a lot. I bring them into school, the plastic bags from home, and if our clothes are wet from us playing in the snow, we put them in there and you guys can take them home. Mrs. Otis ties them real nice to your book bags, right friends? So bags, we can reuse bags like crazy. The paper ones, the plastic ones. We have our reusable bags that I just had over here, and we use those every time that we go shopping with the nice handles. Milk cartons. This is supposed to be like the big milk plastic jug. We could definitely reuse these. As a matter of fact, we are saving these right now for Oliver so that we can hang them outside so he can shoot his hockey pucks at them. So instead of throwing them away and tossing them in that landfill, we're gonna keep them. And Oliver's gonna use them and he's gonna try to hit his pucks at them. So we could definitely reuse them. You can also recycle them. You can put them in the recycle bin. The recycling will come around and take them and make new ones for us. Water bottles. Now, I could have put this one in the recycle. Plastic water bottles, because you can recycle these and you really should. But you can also reuse these. After you drink all the water out of it, you can fill it up and drink it again instead of opening another one. You can reuse these a lot. You can use these to make art projects. You can reuse them to fill them with other things besides water. You could put paint inside of them. I know some of my friends, you could put glitter and some oil and water in there and it makes a really cool kind of like lava bottle. So you can definitely reuse these. And I know most of us don't even use those a lot. We use our own water bottles that we carry around, and we can just fill them up over and over instead of throwing them into that big landfill. This is I did the best I could, friends, toilet paper roll. And I'm gonna put this one for reusing because we definitely reused these like crazy this year, didn't we? Your parents were great and sent them in and shared them, and then we made that really cool burrow for our groundhogs. So I have one space left, and this is my shower, my bathtub. It's the best I got is my shower. We're gonna reduce the amount of water that we use. And you guys, we talked about this when we talked about dental health and brushing our teeth. Don't leave that water running. Our water is taken and it's cleaned, and then it's pushed out for us to use to drink, to bathe, to wash your dog like our girl in our story. So if you use less water, that factory doesn't have to work as hard. So we wanna work on reducing how much water we use, taking shorter showers, not leaving the water running while we're brushing our teeth or when you're in the kitchen, okay? So these are our 3 R's, and these are some of the things that you can be doing to help our environment, to help our earth this week, especially during Earth Day. So I have an assignment for you guys. On Wednesday, when we meet for our Google Meet, I want you to bring me one example from your house of something that you've reduced or reused or recycled. So that's what our share is gonna be on Wednesday. We're not gonna do the basic show and tell share. On Wednesday, I want you guys to bring something you reduced, you reused, or you recycled, okay? And I'm excited to see what you guys do. Also, I'm gonna be sending home a little book for you guys to read about how you can help the earth. It's a really easy book about different ways that we can help the earth, and it has 2 big sight words in it that I want you guys to be looking for, okay? If you have a printer at home and you print it up, you can butter the words up. You don't need a printer. You can read it right off the computer or on your mom and dad's phone or the computer, and that's fine too. But I want you guys to be looking for these 2 sight words. We're gonna be looking for the word we. Can we try this? Can we try to clap it out like we do at school? Try it for me, okay, friends? W-E, we. All right. And we're also going to be looking for the word can. Clap it out, friends. C-A-N, can. So when you read your books, these are the 2 sight words you're going to be focusing on. We can. And it's going to tell you all different ways to be helping the earth. All right. And then I want you to write me a really strong sentence about one way you can help the earth. So you guys got some work to do. You're going to read your story. You're going to write me a strong, your sentences have been awesome, guys. Your details are amazing. You guys are just outstanding. So read your book. Write a sentence about how you can help the earth, and get one of these ready for our share on Wednesday. All right, boys and girls, great job. I'll see you tomorrow for math.